Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Chris Nowoski, and welcome back to another episode of the TKR Podcast. This time, we're talking Rutgers hoops, latest win over Wisconsin, road win. Absolutely, a monumental win for Rutgers from the program. First ever win at Wisconsin, 63-65. A win in Madison is obviously never easy to come by. Nonetheless, Rutgers was able to get that key road win that, I'm sure the NCAA committee will look at that closely. Craig, man, what do you see from the game?
Yeah, honestly, this is a great game for Rutgers. This was about as good of a 40-minute road game as I can remember with Rutgers against a really good Wisconsin team. I mean, Wisconsin's no joke. Going to winning at Wisconsin's no joke. This was their first ever win in Madison. I know they were 0-5 coming into this one. So good to get that under their belt. And really, I mean, Ron Harper Jr. leading the way with 21.6 rebounds. Paul had 18, 5, and 5. Gio had 16 points and I just saw was named the Big Ten Cold Player of the Week. So congrats to him. Props to him for that one. I mean, I see that they decided to do Cold Player of the Week this week when they could have, given it to Paul not too long ago. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, props to Gio. Cliff almost had a double. He had 10.8 rebounds. Just really a great game for Rutgers. I mean, this, like I said, this is just about as complete of a 40 minutes of a road game as I can remember in some time against a really quality opponent. And credit, even though he didn't show up that much in the stat sheet, big time props to Caleb McConnell for shutting down Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis, I'm pretty sure, is like a mid-season All-American. That dude he's a really good player. And to hold him to he only scored 11. And I remember there was a point, I want to say in this, there was a point where he only had like 5 points in the second half, and then he kind of went off for like basically like 6 straight points to give himself that 11. But Caleb McConnell did a great job shutting him down and really helping Rutgers get this big win. And what a turnaround, man. I'll let you start it off because I don't think as positive as a Rutgers fan can be, I don't know if they even expected this kind of turnaround.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll touch on the game first. I mean, I'll go back to Caleb first off. I mean, obviously he only had a couple points. He only had 4 points and made 2 tough shots, but 6 steals. I mean, I think he had 6 steals. I want to say 6 steals. Yeah, 6 steals. I mean, he's had at least 4 in the last like 3-4 games. I mean, he's been absolutely tremendous. I think he's 13th all time in Rutgers history in steals. I know a lot of the guys, Paul McCahey and Ron Harper Jr. after the game, even they were both talking about how he's should be the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. I know stats doesn't have to stats aren't the only thing aren't the only factors for for the Big Ten Player of the Year. But I did look up Daryl Morcell's numbers from last year, and Caleb is averaging more steals per game in less minutes, I want to say. So I mean that's something right there to keep an eye on. I mean he changed the games defensively. He wants to guard the best player. He took Johnny Davis and held him down. I mean, maybe it was a season low. I'm not sure. I didn't check that part, but Caleb came up with key steals. I mean, he was diving all over the place, and that's just kind of the player he is. That's just what he does. Going back to Gio, like you said, Big Ten Player of the Year. Of course with Rutgers too, which it's always co Player of the Week or something, whatever. So
yeah,
but he's actually I saw a note. I got a note with an email that he's the first. He joins Eddie Jordan as the only player in program history to have over 1,550 points, 450 assists, 350 rebounds, and 150 steals. I mean, to be in that category, but only with Eddie Jordan at Rutgers, and I mean, you must be doing something right there.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, as long as you mention with Eddie Jordan, and it doesn't have anything to do with coaching. I mean,
yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of a low blow there. I'm sorry.
Nah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, just Eddie Jordan was obviously one of the greats in the program. So, Geo Baker's name is right up there with that now. So,
yep.
I mean, yeah, Ron. I think Rutgers now is 7-0 this season when Ron Harper Jr. scores over 20 points.
Yep.
I mean, they've been shooting the ball really well. I know you asked Coach Pike about that last home game. So yeah, I mean, the one narrative about Rutgers has always been, they can win on the road, at Jersey Mike's Arena. I mean, win at home at Jersey Mike's Arena, but they can't get that tough road win. And this is a monumental win on the road.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like this, their net right now is at 81. I mean, it was mid I mean 113 maybe like 2 weeks ago. I mean,
Yeah, it was
this team.
104 before the Michigan State win.
Yeah, so I mean, this team was destined really for the NIT like a week and a half ago, and
Mhm.
now they're. I mean, I don't know if they're on the NCAA bubble yet, but they're definitely one of the teams that's intriguing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the bubble with like it's almost kind of a little pointless to be talking about the bubble with so much.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
still so much time to
Yeah.
go, but the fact I think even if like I know I kind of think I could see them on the bubble. If I saw first four out, I've seen different things like that.
Mhm.
But to me, the fact that Rutgers is even in this
Yeah.
conversation right
Yeah.
now is a testament to just how big of a turnaround they've had. Because
Yeah.
this team, after that Northwestern thing, I mean, you and me were talking about it. They looked like they were done. They were dead. We weren't even sure they're going to make the NIT. And now it feels like, not that much later, we're talking about there's a heartbeat here to them. So it's just really just the fact that Rutgers is even in the conversation for first four out right now, I think is just very impressive.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can look at it this way. I mean, there's still plenty of time left to try and stack. I mean, it's obviously we'll get into this probably more when we look ahead,
Mhm.
but I mean, there's still opportunities here to stack some more wins, bolster that resume, and like I think they would make it if they are able to knock off, if they can end this month, who knows? I mean, we
Sure.
didn't expect them to get this far, so who knows what to expect anymore, right?
Yeah, I actually wrote it up this morning. I posted this morning. That I mean, and you mentioned it too. The second half against Northwestern, they kind of woke up. I mean, they kind of snapped a finger. They were scoring. They played defense, and ever since then, they've been playing extremely well. They had losses to Minnesota. They almost lost to Nebraska. They lost to that. They ended up losing that Northwestern game that you mentioned. Yeah, this team looked dead, and then we started talking about how all the ranked teams they were playing up next and how much of a daunting task that was. But instead of looking at that, it's like, oh man, we're gonna lose. They've capitalized on opportunities, and like we said, there's still opportunities left. So I mean, obviously, yeah, Rutgers had a tremendous turnaround. They're kind of playing up to their potential. I mean, we kind of talked about in the past too about how they kind of play down to the competition, maybe at times.
Mhm.
And now, they see, Michigan State on the other side, Wisconsin or Ohio State, stuff like that. I mean, maybe, turns up another level. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously they still have work to do, but, to get where they are right now, even, from where they were at the beginning of the season and even just a couple weeks ago, it's definitely a big turnaround.
And I feel like we were talking about it as we were watching the not the last game, the game before
Mhm.
when we were sitting next to each other. We're like,
Yeah.
this offense looks so different. Like it's
Mhm.
honestly, it feels like they're driving a lot more.
Mhm.
I mean, the towards the end there with Gio, like most of the time I felt like Gio would just, kind of stay maybe at the 3-point line, end up taking a jump shot that may or may not go in. But
Mhm.
instead he decided to drive, which is
Mhm.
something I feel like they're doing a lot more. Gio drives down, gets fouled, sinks the 2 free throws, and Rutgers wins. So I feel like Rutgers has kind of transformed its offense kind of along the way here. They're definitely, I feel like they're driving more, creating more space. And it's just, that's why, and I think that's why they've been a lot more efficient in these last few games. It's really impressive to see that kind of, it's a credit Steve Michael too, because to kind of transform your offense on the fly like that is not easy. And to do it and be efficient against the best teams in the league is really impressive.
Yeah, and a couple of things about this stretch also is, in the past you saw Rutgers, especially on the road, get out to really poor starts and put themselves in a hole. The last couple of games they've been starting fast. They're up by a good amount early against Wisconsin. It helped them kind of settle into the game instead of trying to always come back and use all the energy. And then they also finish games. I mean, early in the season, they lost close games to UMass when they're up by 13. They lost to DePaul by 2 points, Lafayette by 2 points. They struggled against, a couple other teams early on. And now the past couple games, they've been finishing games strong. I mean, second half against Michigan State was a sight to behold. They closed the game. They were down 8 points against Ohio State with 3:48 left, and the Buckeyes didn't score any more points after that. Rutgers ended the game on a 10-0 run, which was obviously an impressive thing as well. And then just this past Saturday, they were up. They had, like I mentioned, they had a lead early in the first half. Wisconsin, they were going back and forth in the second half. There was like a good, 10-minute period or so where no team led by 3. And then Rutgers, at the end just chipped away. They're up by 6, they're up by 10, 9. And obviously they're able to, it did get a little dicey at the end, but yeah, I mean, they got the win, and they've been finishing a lot better and starting games a lot better. And Paul and Ron were, they both talked about that the other day of, how the starting 5 kind of came together and basically knew they had to knock it off, basically. And
Yeah.
and whatever they've done has worked.
Yeah. I mean, now first time, like all these crazy stats that came out of this win is first time in program history they beat 3 straight ranked teams. I mean, it's a long history, and for this to be the first time ever is just crazy. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, think of how great, the Big East was years ago. And this is the first time it's ever happened. It's just crazy to think that 5 quad 1 wins. That's crazy, because it was just 6 not too long ago, because the Michigan game after Michigan blew out Purdue, that was considered a quad 1, but then it dropped down back to a quad 2. So that thing is kind of ebb and flow there. But like I said, the first ever road win against Wisconsin, and I saw just today they were named the National Team of the Week by ESPN. So yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's the first time that's ever happened too. Who knows? But I mean, they're definitely getting some recognition from outside of us just talking about it. So that's always a good.
I think they actually got like a couple votes in the AP 25 AP top 25. I mean, obviously you got to pump the brakes on that one, but if Rutgers continues on, I mean, you never know. So
yeah, I think it's right now for them. It's just all about building, like continuing the momentum, because they've
exactly
they've kickstarted really a lot of momentum here. I mean, like we said, not too long ago, it felt like they were dead in the water. Now they're getting votes in the AP top 25, even if it's one. I mean, that's one more than we would have ever expected a couple weeks ago.
True.
So it's just crazy how fast they've turned things around, and now they kind of have the destiny in their hands here. They just keep winning, keep building this momentum, and I don't think there's any way they could be left out. But still a long ways to go here.
Yeah. And then I think I'm gonna read off a couple game notes real quick. So obviously, like you mentioned, 3 straight wins over ranked teams for the first time. 3 consecutive wins over ranked teams in program history. They had 3 straight wins in matchups against ranked teams for the first time since the 2001 season, where they beat number 17 UConn, number 14 Syracuse, number 13 Miami in a span of 7 games. They have 4 wins over ranked Big Ten teams this season for the first time. It's the second time Rutgers has won against 4 ranked teams under one head coach with Steve Peichel. They also did it in the 2019-20 season. We all know obviously how that ended up. They with all the COVID stuff and everything. So they right now, I mean, honestly, I mean, I know another reporter had posted, maybe like 2 weeks ago or so before the stretch. I mean, Rutgers is really in the thick of the Big Ten race right now, which is again something we wouldn't have said, a week ago. Yeah. So I mean, they're playing Illinois next. Illinois, I believe, is at the top. Rutgers is like 2 games or so back. I mean, if Rutgers could beat Illinois, man,
I was gonna, because I know that's what we're probably gonna talk about next. If Rutgers beats Illinois, like they're right in the thick of it with a couple of games to go. That would just be crazy, man. That would just be crazy.
So I mean, obviously Rutgers has Illinois on Wednesday now, at Jersey Mike's Arena. Obviously another probably sold out crowd in Piscataway there. Illinois absolutely demolished Rutgers in December.
Mhm.
What was that was like 80, I think it was
86 to 51.
86-51. I mean,
It was bad.
yeah,
Or yeah.
it was bad. Illinois is like an elite team offensively and defensively. They're very hard to beat. Obviously, they're ranked number 12 now, I believe it is. Kofi Coburn is one of the candidates for Player of the Year. So I mean, you have to stop him first and foremost. But then again, at the same time, they have shooters on the outside who, if you double team Coburn, he could pass it out and find the open shooter and they can knock it down. So this is again a game Rutgers is going to have to settle in, have a fast start, and and defend well. If you could defend well, and kind of muster some points along the way, I think Rutgers will have a good shot.
Yeah, this is gonna be a real measuring stick game for
Yeah.
them to see how far they've come. Because like we said, back in December, that thing was just not that wasn't competitive at
No,
all.
it wasn't competitive at all. Yeah.
That was
It
a
was
really bad
it
game.
was it was over early. Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. It was yeah. But you could tell though, this is not the same Rutgers for the last three games. This is not the same Rutgers team
Mhm.
from December. That team, this team looks completely just rejuvenated, just like a completely different team. Like we talked about, the offense looks completely different. So we'll see. I mean, the games at Jersey Mike's where Rutgers always seems to play well. So this is going to be a real interesting game. And if, like we said, if Rutgers can somehow win this one, they're right in the thick of things for the Big Ten, which is just insane to think about from
Mhm.
where we were a couple weeks ago. So they got this game, and this would be like we said, another quarter win.
Mhm.
Pat, we said they've never beaten three straight ranked teams, so I don't think they've ever beaten four straight ranked
Right.
teams.
Right. I
But it would
mean,
just
yeah.
yeah, it would just be this is going to be like Jersey Mike's arena is going to be, I think, just a madhouse
Mhm.
on Wednesday. This game is going to be really interesting.
Yeah. And Rutgers is playing with a lot of confidence right now. I was looking at the box score real quick from December, and it was very intriguing to see Jaden Jones playing the most minutes in that game and scoring the most points with 10 for Rutgers.
Yeah, that almost tells you how long ago it was.
Exactly. I mean, he hasn't gotten, really any minutes the
Mm.
last couple of games. I mean, I don't think he played at all against Wisconsin.
Nah, I don't think so. I didn't. Yeah, he really hasn't. It's a shame. It's kind of a shame to see, but it is what it is. I mean,
Mhm.
Pico kind of has his circle of trust, and it just
Sure.
doesn't seem like Jaden Jones is in that, and he's just having a tough time breaking through. But
Sure.
hopefully one day we will get to see the type of player that we all kind of expected to see
Mhm.
when they recruited him.
Yeah. And speaking of the young guys, it was good to see Jalen Miller back. I know at
Mhm.
the end of the game, end of the Michigan State game here, he tweaked his ankle,
Yeah.
I believe, and obviously he got some playing time against Wisconsin. So good to see him back. Another feisty defender that Rutgers can use in the backcourt. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, man, Rutgers has or Steve Pikiell has his rotation. He has a circle of trust. And I know what that's a good little name for it, circle of trust
Yeah.
there. Because they don't play a lot of guys really this season like they normally have. So
Yeah, I feel like it always starts out like when the season starts, it's always big. It's like, okay, here's everybody gets their chance.
mhm.
It starts out with like 10 or whatever the number is. And then as the season progresses along, then it boils down to like, the same kind of 6, 7, 8 guys
Mhm.
who you
Yeah.
see. And Jaden Jones just doesn't. I mean, Jaden Jones was in the garbage time of that Michigan State game. Like,
Right.
to be honest, I never thought of Jaden Jones as like like a garbage time player. Like I
Mhm.
figured, if you need offense, if you need offense, you put him in. But to see him to kind of go with that squad is, I don't know, it's just not what I expected.
Mhm. Yeah, he hasn't gotten more than 5 minutes since January 1st against Central Connecticut State. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, obviously, Rutgers has the starting five: Gio, Paul, Caleb, Ron, and Cliff, and then Mawat Mag comes in for a good amount of time. Who you got? Host, you got Andre Hyde. If he's not fouling, he'll play a lot.
Mhm.
And Dean
Yeah.
Reber gets some run as Cliff's back up. So
Yeah.
sometimes Oscar comes in. I'm not sure why Oscar plays, but I mean, I know, and the coaching staff like him. So well, that's another story for another day. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, we'll both be there on Wednesday at Jersey Mike's Arena. We'll both be in the press box. Yeah. So I mean, Craig, you have anything else about Wisconsin game or
Nah,
anything?
I would say just kind of I would just say you can't be, I guess I don't want to say be cautiously optimistic, but
Sure.
it's a good, they're kind of they're in a good space right now.
Yes. Yes.
And which is something that definitely did not expect them to be, just a couple of four games ago now.
Yep.
So the fact that so this is kind of to the fact that Rutgers has gotten here it's just a credit to them that they've really gotten to this point. And you can be happy with the progress they've made, and there's still plenty of time left. There's still work to be done. So I guess just kind of enjoy the ride and see how it goes. I would say it's probably a little premature to say that Rutgers is a tournament team. If the season ended today, I do not think Rutgers would be in March Madness. But if they can pick up these wins against Purdue, Illinois, Purdue, I know they have Michigan after that. If they can pick up some more wins, it's going to be hard to keep them out. It's going to come down. It might come down to the eye test, but it's just, by the end, we'll definitely know at some point whether or not Rutgers is a tournament team or not. But I guess right now, kind of just enjoy the ride.
Sure, and that's exactly what Joe Baker said to me a couple of games ago. After the Ohio State game, he said, it's all the journey is all part of the fun. I mean, you have to take it one game at a time. And yeah, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I mean, looking at this gauntlet that Rutgers was going on in February, it kind of looked impossible. But now it's just opportunity after opportunity, and they're cashing in on those opportunities. There's still a couple games left to continue to dig themselves out of the hole that they did. But yeah, I mean, this is the team that we kind of expected, to see at the beginning of the season. It's one that Steve Pego said it was his best team ever. So I mean, if Rutgers is playing a defense, I think when Rutgers plays his defense, the offense looks better. The offense flows more, and everybody's more engaged. And I know Peko always likes the grinded out games, but the offense has been playing well as of late too. So I mean, for a team like Rutgers, if you could play well on both sides of the court, they're going to be extremely hard to beat.
Yep.
So all right, with that being said, everybody, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to check out the message boards, like and subscribe to this podcast, the video, what have you. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you after the game on Wednesday. I'm sure we'll do another quick video after the game on Wednesday, win or lose. So with that being said, everybody, thanks for listening and have a great day.